I stopped writing. That was like the last time I ever wrote so many words. Hi, welcome to my writing corner. I'm assuming you are a writer just like me, or maybe not. Either way, welcome. This is going to be a YouTube diary where I'll be documenting my journey as a newbie writer. You see, I started writing just a few years back. I'm 25 right now. I was never a writer. In fact, I never read so many storybooks as a kid. I just started it as a teen. And my goal for this channel is to be able to write my book and completely flesh it out. I want to see my fantasy novel breathe. But I have a habit of not finishing any project. I always start something, but they are undone. So this is more like a challenge for myself to see it through, and I hope it will serve as an accountability tool. But at the same time, I also want to encourage you as a writer who's also starting out. Maybe you have a busy life just like me. I am a medical student. So to be able to balance it and still see our project till the end. So I chose the name Dragon Heart was because it symbolizes courage and unyielding passion, which is what I truly want to embody the meaning of. And I really believe in choosing another name for ourselves that has a meaning that we want to embody it. So if you have a name that you're thinking about that you want to impersonate, write it down in the comments. So I would love to introduce you about myself and where I am and how my calling to write started, even though I knew I was going to become a doctor. My name is Shalini. I am a Sri Lankan and I'm also a medical student. I'm starting 5th year in 2 weeks from now. So you see, English is my second language. It wasn't around until I was 14 years old that I grabbed some books to read, like novels. And that was because my English teacher encouraged me and my fellow students to read and improve our vocabulary. And what started as a way to improve my English, I ended up falling in love with stories and realized I do love reading. I was enjoying it. And my friends also introduced me to Wattpad and I became an avid Wattpad reader. And years slowly went by. I started consuming stories left and right, and in particular about the authors, like how they began their writing journey. And most of them described that they were writers since they were a kid. Maybe they started at the age of 10 or 5, and I could not relate with them. And I never envisioned myself as a writer because all I ever wrote were pieces of articles for the school. That's it. And in 2019, this moment changed. I was just minding my own business. I was bored. I was in the living room, and this feeling appeared in my heart. It was like, I want to write, I want to create a story. And it was so strong. I remember being shocked, like, what? Me? And I also remembered, like, I got this vivid imagination of a French historical heroine. Her name is Joan d'Arc. Jeanne d'Arc. I don't know how to say it. And she looked so cool. I realized, like, this is weird. Me and write makes no sense. But at the same time, I wanted to prove myself because it was very strong. It was very strong, this calling to write. So I went to the bookshelf and dragged out some children's story books. And I just assessed how the story was crafted, and I picked up some adverbs like she squealed, he narrowed his eyes, and I strung up some words to create a short story of a lioness and her cubs, which was very well. I was pretty impressed, like, okay, I got this, I can do something about it. And what started as a simple calling just began a huge passion in me. So I want to write and I also want to become a doctor. They were sort of like two different worlds colliding, but I had so much time still. I started writing. I started consuming a lot of books that teach you how to write stories. For example, Save the Cat by Blake Snyder and Write Your Novel from the Middle by James Scott Bell. And also there were some really lovely booktubers like Heart Breathings and Abby Emmons. And I also started, honing my skills, like, right. And then COVID happened, 2020 happened, and all I did was basically practice and write. And I got this idea of a female character for my story. I was like, I'm going to write a novel. It was about a girl who was falsely accused of something, and the era was set in a historical time. And I managed to write the zero draft for the book. And you see, at the same time, while I was writing the stories, I was also sending application forms to medical universities. So just after finishing my zero draft, I received the letter to be able to come and study. And that was in 2021. And I cannot juggle between two things. When I have my mind space into writing, that's all I do. Now, I was busy planning to travel, pack my bags. That's all I did for a couple of months. And I stopped writing. That was like the last time I ever wrote so many words. So I, was very busy with the documents here and there, getting ready to come into this new country, Belarus. New city, new atmosphere around me, and strangers and new language, Russian. I did not know Russian. I did not know nobody here except for one. So I finally got onto the plane by myself. I came here. I was very excited for this fresh start in a different part of the world. So that was what I was pretty much doing, teaching myself to settle down here. There were a lot of things I had to learn while going to classes, making new friends, teaching myself how to cook. I was a terrible cook at the beginning. And that meant I did not write at all for a very long time. So I brought my writing books with me. These are the books where I have like information on character arcs, the theme of stories, how to write side characters. I even have this really cute, what is it called? I forgot. Anyways, so this was Act 1, and I think there is Act 2 and 3 in the center. This was a method that Sarah Cannon taught, to write down my scenes for the story. Yeah. And these were just on the table. I would not open it, so I would be studying for my exams and daily classes. I would have the anatomy textbook in the center of the table, and I go, I can't write. And so for a long time, I was just out of touch. I did not even read any storybooks because I was just busy. So I told myself that when summer holidays come, I would write. And that meant 2 months of writing because I get 2 months of break. And when it did come around finally, like I said, it was a zero draft. So that meant editing a little bit. And I couldn't figure out something. Something was wrong with the scope of the story. I could not figure out a really good climax. And I kept going round and round in circles for my protagonist, and I kept wondering what is going on. And I thought to myself, what if reason I enjoyed writing was because I was studying how to write? Maybe. So I gave up. Second year of medical school started, and I shoved those aside. And then finally, second summer came. And when second summer arrived, I started binge watching K-dramas. But here's the thing, right? I started watching this very historical, magical, fantasy K-drama called Athdal Chronicles. And I would like to show you because it plays a very big part in the current story I'm working on. So this is the poster for it. I think you can see. It's a really cool story. And there's a character called Tanya. She is a ceremonial dancer, I think. This particular dance was passed down from generations to generations. And she is the daughter of a tribe leader. And that particular dance step meant to locating a relic, I think. Yeah, but it was so cool. It was so captivating. And it was at the back of my head. Like, it was just there. And then classes began again. And I came across this video on Instagram. It was a woman dancing with fire on her skirt. She was basically twirling around. And I was like, okay. You see, I may not have been writing for a very long time. say 2 years, but I was slowly collecting ideas for my new story. And she looked so cool. And I said, okay, let's just keep it. Let me show you how it looks. And then third summer came and I did not write. Because I finally traveled to Sri Lanka to hang around with my family. That meant no writing at all. And then during the semester, I got this dream. Well, I get dreams every single day, but there were two that practically stood out for me. And it was basically a girl. How do I say? Let me show you a picture again so you visualize what I'm talking about. It basically looked like this. So she was just sitting on this ruined building and watching over the village. Like, And I realized I want to write a story about this girl. And of course, many months passed by again, and I saw this sort of like a paranormal dream with a ghost, but not necessarily a scary kind. And I decided I want to incorporate these stories. So it was during the semester. I was like, let me write this down somewhere. Something is so exciting about this. And yeah, fourth summer arrived. This is the fourth summer 2025. That meant almost 4 years of not writing. And this summer, initially, I actually had no intention of writing the story or working on my craft, because we were to do practical training at the polyclinic. We were to gain clinical experience as medical students. So what I really did at nights were just do doom scrolling. And I was watching this really cool Snapchat stories of several influencers, and I began to get inspired by them because they were living their life. They were chasing their dreams. And I also want to chase my dream. I want to be a doctor, and I also want to be an author. And there was this one person, she posted some quotes. It was, build your future, be in control of your life. And it struck me. It was around midnight. This room was dark. This is my dorm room. And I thought to myself, I really need to be in control of my life. If they get to live their dream, I also get to live mine. And I felt like time was running out also, because I'm 25 right now. And after medical school, that meant internship, residency, and working. I do not know how to fit my writing schedule with that, because I'm very terrible with routine, and I'm also a lazy girl. So I decided, you know what? Now is the time. So that's how we are here today. This is very difficult for me. I never imagined myself to be in YouTube, but I really hope you get encouraged to start writing if you are a writer. I would like to balance writing with my medical school and studies, because I don't think it's going to be easy, considering that I have a terrible routine with sleep, with eating, I just recalled a very inspiring story that I read in Wattpad. It was about a person, a real person. She commented how she has a very busy life. She was working a full-time job, and somehow at night, whenever she finds the time, she would sit in her garage and type away in her mobile phone. She would just write her story. And it's still in my head, and I think about it, and I take it as a motivation to do it. So yeah, and I hope you guys also get encouraged to do the same and live the life you want. Create it, build it. And in the next video, I will introduce you to my fantasy characters in the story, and maybe tell you a little bit of the lore that I have been thinking about. And yeah, that's it. So see you in the next video.